And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Anthony Dahl, who asked the question, who would win a three-way fight, Jean Grey, Silver the Hedgehog, or Mewtwo? So, the obvious idea behind this is that they all have psychic abilities. That is like Silver's unique shtick among the Hedgehog group, is that Silver is a Hedgehog of psychic capabilities. And he's actually very strong, from what I can find. He's strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Shadow and even beat Sonic, albeit Sonic was underestimating him at the time. Just breaking it down real quick, Silver's abilities are called psychokinesis, but it's just telekinesis, psychic abilities. He can lift things much heavier, many more times his weight in mass or just one large object. He can also use the psychic energy, create psychic blasts, create shields. He can use the Chaos Emeralds to increase his own power, basically being Super Silver, with all of his, which weirdly enough, he still turns gold. With all the abilities enhanced, having even stronger abilities, and being nigh invulnerable. The downside to that, though, is without a steady amount of rings, he's not going to be able to keep the form for very long. Mewtwo, obviously the clone of Mew, is like within the OG legendary Pokemon. Like Mewtwo, and Mewtwo is no joke either. Stat-wise, Mewtwo is still one of the strongest legendary Pokemon, one of the most diverse move pools. Mewtwo's power is great enough that we see in the movie, plus, in the series, that he can create energy shields, basically fire energy blasts, very high level of psychic power to the point where he can mind wipe an entire group of people, manipulate the weather on a continental scale. It's hard to say how big that hurricane he made was, but he pretty much made a hurricane is what he did. And that's without even, and I say he, Mewtwo is technically genderless, but the voice in the original movie was a he, so we'll go with that. Mewtwo is highly, volatile, very aggressive, although he did learn to, kind of chill out a little bit. Ultimately, Mewtwo is still one of the strongest legendary Pokemon around, and one of the only Pokemon that can Mega Evolve without a Mega Stone. It may be the Rayquaza effect where Mewtwo found his own Mega Stone and just kept it in his body, but whatever. And the Mewtwo in that version is female, if I'm not mistaken. Jean Grey is obviously Jean Grey. Jean Grey is a Omega level psychic. And we're talking Jean Grey without the Phoenix Force, although she's been a host to it many times. And maybe has even had a lingering effect of that power in her since then. She's also died many times but come back. But has psychic abilities on par with some of the strongest in the Marvel Universe. Capable of moving, literally capable of moving mountains if she needs to. Telepathy, capable of obviously reading minds. Psychic shields, psychic blast, psychic attacks on the mind. Jean Grey is also a Nexus being. She's one of the only ones we know about as far as the Marvel comics. I know Scarlet Witch is one as well. Man-Thing. There's a couple other ones, but she is a Nexus being, which means in every conceivable reality, she exists simultaneously in that reality as such. In terms of what we've seen Jean do, though, it all depends on how you look at Jean Grey's power set and abilities, because Jean Grey, from the original run of X-Men from the 60s, isn't actually all that powerful. She's powerful, sure, but she's not that powerful. Whereas Jean Grey later on in her career, later on in her life, is, oh no, she's powerful. Hold on. She's an Omega level mutant. She is considered to be a mutant Alpha Psi, an Alpha level telepath, Alpha level mutant, psionic of highest order. As Dark Phoenix, she is stated to be a global threat and manifesting cosmic level powers. According to Prosh, or cognitive mutagenic power registration was an 8.9, whatever that means. Initially, she put restriction on her, but obviously as time went on, she reawoken those abilities. She's an empath, capable of feeling emotion, telepathy, able to project her thoughts, read thoughts, project and broadcast her own thoughts, as well as affect the minds of others, people and animals with high order of intelligence, such as dolphins, ravens, or dogs. The range in which she can perform these feats is greatly increased when she's accessed the Phoenix Force, but whatever. Since her resurrection, her range has naturally increased, having demonstrated the ability to link with every mutant mind in Croatia. Telepathic defenses, though, she's also got telepathic cloak mind, psychic shield. Basically, she's got telepathic, she's not near immune to telepathy. Telepathic manipulation, she can alter memories, mind control and possession. personality alteration, mental paralysis, basically cause paralysis, mental amnesia, mental transference, healing trauma, neutral jumpstart. She can increase the speed of neuron signaling to the brain. That's interesting. Dilation power, ability to place psychic inhibitors in other people's minds, astral projection, mental detection, psionic blast, basically psionic energy bolts, which can basically cause physical pain as well, or just psychic pain, causing pain, knocking them unconscious during, basically turning the victim brain dead for a while. Telekinesis, though, her telekinesis was what her main ability actually was, and it is on a huge level. Like she can generate concussive force blasts of burst, create projective shields. While she has access to the Phoenix Force, she was able to manipulate matter and energy, but she can't do that, obviously, without it. She can even change the Phoenix clothes to a set of street clothes if she needs to. But otherwise, she's Psychic Firebird. She can manifest her telekinesis as a Psychic Firebird's claws can inflict both physical and mental damage. Force Field. She can shield herself and teammates. Tactile telekinesis. She has the power to utilize a personal field of telekinetic energy. Matter transmutation. She can manipulate and transmute matter on a subatomic level, i.e. turning wood into gold, plant into crystal, and causing physical bodies to disintegrate. Obviously, while this power she probably has already, it's on a much higher level when she has the Phoenix Force. Telekinetic weapons. She can create psionic weapons and constructs out of psychic energy that damage the target either physically, mentally, or both at some point. Psychic siphoning. She can drain others of psychic energy to enhance her own psionic powers. This boost can provide herself with, the boost she can provide herself is dependent on the energy she's absorbing. Telekinetic auras, psychic resistance, psychic entity physiology. She managed to ascend her physical body and become a being of pure psionic force, similar to Nat Grey from Age of Apocalypse. Cosmic telekinesis, level telekinetic blasts. Jean is messed up power. Unfortunately, the movies don't do her personality any good because she's never a very interesting character within the movies, and that's honestly because she's like the level-headed person of the group. She's kind of like the normal person until the Phoenix shit happens, and then everything goes crazy. But that's what kind of makes her a bit boring too to watch as a character on screen. In the book, she's a lot more, interesting to deal with. In the comics, she's a lot more interesting to deal with because you've had all these years of experience and trauma to deal with. Unfortunately, she just doesn't translate well, I think, into an original character or a decent character. But yeah, she's crazy powerful. And if these three meet in a fight, I actually don't think it's much of a contest. Who's going to be the one who drops first, basically? Well, if there's no Chaos Emeralds, which, to be fair, we'll give a Chaos Emeralds briefly, I think Silver goes down first. If there are Chaos Emeralds, that's a tougher call. I do think with the Chaos Emeralds and Super Silver, Silver is capable of lasting a while in the fight. But without a steady supply, he's going to drop out of that form and be completely vulnerable. Mewtwo, on the whole, base form, I think Mewtwo is the stronger of between him and Silver. But the problem ultimately is, even just standard-wise, Jean has far more ability she's displayed, and the ability to siphon off psychic energy as a whole, which they have plenty of to bolster her own abilities, plus on a high enough level of psychic energy, being able to frickin' manipulate matter. And that's not even including mental paralysis, mental amnesia, mind transferal, healing trauma, mental sedation, neutral jumpstart, dilation powers, mind link, psychic blast, astral projection, mental detection, force field, psychic firebird, tactile telekinesis, telekinetic weapons, psionic siphoning, as I said, which goes towards telekinetic or psychic resistance. I really don't think this is much of a contest, sadly. I think it's Jean Grey who pretty much just whoops the battlefield. Psychic to psychic, if these guys are just going at each other in base form to base form, no amps, let's talk about that, because otherwise, not even including the Phoenix Force, Jean's going to completely beat these guys. But with no amps, who would come out on top? Well, I still think it's going to be Jean. And the problem is, neither of these two have the ability to siphon off the energy of the other, particularly psychic energy, which they all have, and add it to their own power, but Jean does, and she'd have two dummies to leech off of here. Now, Mewtwo, though, would be, I think, the more aggressive of the three. He could most likely sense the psychic power coming off of Jean and see her as the bigger threat, and maybe even try to convince Silver to join him in the fight. If he agrees, then it becomes a 2-on-1 fight. If Mewtwo does in fact go into a Mega Evolution and Silver does go into Super Silver, Gene would be at a disadvantage there because the level of power they both have is extreme enough where Mewtwo may have the power to really destroy the world if it really wanted to. Not necessarily blow up the world like just boom, but Mewtwo could theoretically destroy the world if Mewtwo really wanted to. It would just take a lot of time and effort, but if Mewtwo could take out the planet. Ultimately, I believe, especially when you factor in Mega Evolution. And Super Silver definitely could, given the fact that most super forms for Sonic, Silver, Shadow are well into the kind of planetary tiers. And that's not even factoring in maybe Chaos Control, which unfortunately it doesn't seem that he's demonstrated anything like Chaos Control. His psychic abilities are just amped. Gene would be having a very big problem even with Psychic Siphoning because they would be the aggressors of the fight. She'd put up force fields, astral projection. So their psychic abilities would probably allow them to pinpoint which is the real Gene. Gene, though, would not be without her own defenses, obviously. And basically becoming psychic energy with psychic physiology. In this form, she is a material energy being who can regain physical form even after being consumed by poison, using the feature to break free of the corporeal prison and reconstruct her physical body from scratch. Gene's kind of unkillable in some ways. And even with Mega Evolution and Super Silver's still going to run out pretty quick. Gene would probably be able to outlast for long enough while siphoning off energy to strengthen her own energy that while Mega Mewtwo would exist until the fight ends, I don't think it's enough to take Gene down. I think really it's just a matter of Gene, even without the Phoenix Force, is a global level threat. And Mewtwo, while is a global level threat, is a global level threat on a somewhat smaller scale. Gene has done far more, even in just base form, with far more abilities than Mewtwo ultimately has. Silver, I don't even think is a global level threat, but possibly a Super Silver does have the overall ability to threaten the planet as a whole. But if we're going just like power and diversity, then it's going to be Gene, I think. Gene has demonstrated. It also helps that Gene has had such a long comic history to just display so much nuances with her powers and levels of power that I think it kind of is a little unfair to these two. Now, if you're going to just say who's the silver medal winner, I do think it's Mewtwo. I think while Silver's super form would be tough, Mega Mewtwo Y particularly, because that is overall the stronger version. Mega Mewtwo, I think, is strong enough to outlast the fighting with Super Silver, and at least hold him off until the power runs out. In which case, then Mewtwo will overwhelm Silver with his energy, because Silver is dependent on his own energy and can tire out a lot quicker than Mewtwo can. And that is another flaw in Silver's category, which I forgot to mention, that Silver can run out of energy to use psychokinesis, if you will, and does need to recharge after a little time, getting rings and things along those lines. So, ultimately, my money is on Gene. I think she's just the more powerful psychic in this lineup. But it's just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Let me know. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you folks next time, including for What If, which I'm going to be doing immediately after this. So, have a good one.